Welcome back to What They Won't Tell You with Sherry Anshara, the quantum truth. And today we're talking about the God particle. What is it and where we can find it? Let's start with what is the God particle, Sherry?
Well, I will tell you. First of all, I have to sort of have a prelude here. In 2002, because I work with individuals and I can see inside the body,
Hmm.
I noticed these new children that I call new kids on the block. And I noticed that in these new children that there was something special about them.
Hmm.
And then I discovered it was called a God particle. That's what
Huh.
it was, the godness. It was the essence, because you're all God, but they have a different resonance.
Hmm.
They're more conscious, they're more connected, and it did confuse a lot of adults and their families. I get it. And so I noticed that that particle, because we're cells and particles and molecules at the subatomic level, but I noticed that there was a difference in how this particle looked. I don't know how to explain it except the fact that it was more vibrant,
Okay.
it was more accessible,
Hmm.
and that these children would see things, they would say things, they would be more advanced. I called that the new kids on the block. That was the first wave, and about 2 years ago came the second wave, and they. So I'm going to get to this point and burst a belief system that that they call indigo kids. You know what?
Hmm.
That's just another metaphyslar world. Sorry, not picking on anybody.
Right.
Indigo, Joan of Arc was an indigo. We could
Hmm.
go back. It's just that they were more evolved.
Okay.
So and that happened, Leonardo da Vinci, and
Right.
and there's more to those stories than
Hmm.
that, but whatever. So they are more evolved, they're more conscious, they're more expanded, but I and expansive in their beingness, in their resonance. So I noticed that this particle was so different, and it was like, wow, and I didn't know how to explain it. So that's why I call them the new kids on the block. So 2 years ago, when all this, stuff started, with the pandemic.
Plandemic. Oh, I love that. Oh, that's a good one. I
I
got to start using that in the
am.
plandemic. Oh,
Yes.
I'm going to use that.
That is pandemic. And so I noticed that this was another group
Hmm.
and these kids. And so I also have to preface this. I wrote an article called Baby's First Connection, and it was requested of me by a very famous, globally known a pediatrician,
Hmm.
because I can talk to babies in the womb and I teach the parents how to do it while they're in the womb in the development
Oh,
stages.
yeah. Huh.
And I noticed that these new kids on the block were very verbal
Hmm.
because of this God particle. This is no joke.
Huh.
I was working with one of my friend's granddaughters. She was in the womb, 5 months in the womb, and she's 4 years old now. But I was working with her, and I've known her mother, like when she was young. And so I said, "Oh my God, the baby just asked me to ask about her feet."
Hmm.
And so it's my accountant's granddaughter in the making, and she jumped up and she said, "Sherry, you have no idea what you're saying." I said, "No, I don't. It's not. I'm just repeating what she's telling me to ask you guys." Well, the day before, her mother was getting an ultrasound, and so they sent the ultrasound to my accountant to her office,
Hmm.
technologically,
Yep.
whatever that is. And my accountant had said, "I can't see her feet," and the
Huh.
baby turned
Oh.
and she could see her feet. This is
Oh.
honest to God.
Huh.
So I've talked with many babies in the womb. I've even been in delivery rooms.
Hmm.
When I was first asked, I thought, oh my God, even when there's been C-sections, that was like a little bit much, but
Yeah.
I did it. But you see, these kids are more evolved. They have language skills that are so extraordinary, and that's why I don't wanna bring about I'm not, doing good, bad, or indifferent, but if you just consider the idea how many were gotten rid of when they were born,
Hmm.
because the
Ugh.
powers that be knew these were the new kids on the block. I'm just
Right.
pointing that
I'm
out.
just
I'm not
cropping them
judging,
out.
just not, wronging or anybody. But that is what happens. They have a more expansive, because they're part of creating the new earth
Hmm. That's amazing.
because of the God particle, and you are all God, but they know right up front.
So, how do we increase our own God particle? The people who are not the new kids on the block.
By their willingness to get out of the duality, limitation, BS belief systems.
So, can we grow this God particle?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So can somebody evolve to the New Kids on the Block, or are they beyond the point where normal people, quote unquote, um, can get to?
That is what a teacher is about, just
Mm,
using that word teacher.
yeah.
They're here for us to connect to, but you've got to do it through heartness,
Mm,
the allness of you to the allness of them, and connectedness.
hmm.
Those are my words is and newness. It's creating newness, but you must be willing. If you're not willing and you want to hold on to the idea of your God programs, it's okay with me. I'm not going to judge it.
Right.
But the fact is, they're providing opportunities.
Right.
Their resonance is, you have one.
I do.
You absolutely
We're gonna
do.
talk about that in the next episode.
Yeah,
So.
and they are just so amazing. And the fact is that they can talk in the womb. And the other extraordinary fact is supporting these parents to communicate with that baby while that baby or babies are being developed. And actually, a few years ago, I was working with this gal that was pregnant with twins, and they were, fraternal friends. And so I was in the delivery room, and after they were born, the dad asked me to go into the room where they were in their little carrier, the twin carrier, where they gather, and they were sleeping. I walked in and I just said quietly, hello. And they opened their eyes and responded. But when they were in the womb, I already knew their names because their parents gave it to them. And so when I would call them their names, each one would respond
Wow.
to their own name. See, we are so much more incredible in the godness, in the God particle within all of us. So they are here to mentor us. They're not here to change you. Only if you're willing to make changes. And people are afraid of changes, which is ridiculous.
Mm.
Changes is growth.
Change is a constant.
Yes,
Yeah.
all the time.
So where is the God particle?
It's within the cellular structure within the body. And guess what?
What?
They have more strands of DNA.
The God or the New Kids on the Block?
Yeah, they
or-
do, because
Oh.
the goal is to get 12 strands. I've been writing about this for 30 years. Is
12
to get
strands.
12, you get 12 strands with the connector. And what you've done is you've matched the people that interfered in our DNA in a race. And I'm putting it out there now. Get my book, Busting Out of the Matrix. Bust Out of the Matrix, be free. So what I'm assisting people to do is remember being human before the manipulation.
Oh.
Oh.
Before the minute, when did the manipulation take place?
Lots of years ago.
Oh yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of years ago. And so that's what happened. And so, and then, even if you just look at this, I'm going to throw this out to you in the idea that God particle. I always wondered about the word Babylon. Well, so they babbled on because that's when the languages was changed. So, because before that was only one language. I'm just throwing that out. Don't
okay.
everybody panic.
Yeah.
Hail Mary, full of grace. Whatever. Hallelujah. Whatever. So there's so much more that we have not been taught, but these children remember, and they are coming in, and that God particle is not as affected, or infected by the duality resonance of limitations. Embrace these children. They already know what it's like to be on the new earth. They're here to assist us to create that resonance.
That is amazing. So we're almost out of time, but one last question. What can we do with the God particle? Really brief, because we're almost out of time.
Well, it's your real intelligence and intellect.
Okay, so it's accessing the real intelligence and the intellect.
In your body at the cellular level.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, all over your body. Your body is brilliant. Your left computer brain, not so smart.
All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on What They Won't Tell You, The Quantum Truth with Sherry Anshara. You can find Sherry and book a session with her at www.sherryanshara.com.